So to kick off this community call, we have a presentation from Anton. Anton, for a little while, has been beating the drum that our incentive structure is kind of antiquated and doesn't necessarily like encourage the behaviors that ideally we'd like to see on ResearchHub. So he's done a little bit of thinking about how we could potentially have new incentives that cause people to create like higher quality content, and in theory made the community a little bit more inviting. So we're thinking about just letting Anton run his own essentially incentive program where we can kind of experiment with like different rewards for different behaviors with the end goal of like trying to actually gather data on what might work the best to actually implement into ResearchHub's app. So Anton, do you want to take it away?
Sure. Perhaps to start the conversation, maybe like there are some users here, right, present, and it would be really nice to hear like what needs to happen, like what do you need to feel and not feel like as in negative emotions to participate in ResearchHub more frequently. Like why don't you post a comment every day? No judgment, just curiosity.
To kick it off from my end, because I don't even post comments every day, it's a lot of work.
Lot of work.
You have to read a paper, you have to like actually understand it and add a comment. Even when like posting hypotheses, like I'd kind of like peripherally scan papers and add stuff. And then like there was an MD PhD who came in and was like, oh wow, like you did not understand these citations properly. So it's just a time commitment.
Okay, what about less effort demanding activities, like maybe interacting with other people, like commenting on a comment?
Again, the reason for me, same as what Joyce mentioned, but also I already have platforms where I will get a much better return for the effort that I put in. So if I'm about to post a paper on Twitter, I will get much more value than on ResearchHub. And that is the main reason why I'm using Twitter and not ResearchHub primarily.
What do you mean by value?
I mean, I have some network that will see this and recognize some value in it, and I will get some recognition for that. So I can share the value with external community and other people. And there's just less of it in my network, at least on ResearchHub.
Okay. What about the rest of you guys?
Yeah, I think I think for me, it's really. Yeah, like everyone said, it takes time, but it's also, I don't really know a lot about these topics. I know about some topics, but I don't know about a lot of topics. And even replying to a comment requires me to understand the comments, like context and which references the paper, which requires like a bunch of reading. And interestingly enough, Dragon, you mentioned Twitter. Don't know if it's, just wanted to throw it out there, like in ResearchHub, but comments and things like that are much more detailed. Twitter, less detailed, more to the point. I don't know if there is something here, but just throwing some things in my mind.
There is less detail, more to the point. So basically the content you consume and produce is in smaller chunks, bite-sized chunks that are easier to digest. I think that's very important.
For sure.
Also, another thing is the sentiment. I know that if I share things on Twitter, it's a much more relaxed community and people will just retweet and easily share further. On ResearchHub, it seems like there is like higher expectation because the content needs to be of a decent quality to be considered kind of high quality research. So yeah, that's another reason. Like there's less risk if I post it on Twitter.
Okay.
I guess like from Twitter perspective, the one thing that, I think emotions play a big role in these things. And I think with Twitter, things are sometimes more fun. With ResearchHub right now, I think there is less fun factor. It's more like, I guess not fun. Whatever.
That's exactly what we want to change, right? We want ResearchHub to be fun. Interesting. Let's actually start with the presentation because we might run out of time. Right, can you all see? Can you see my stuff? I don't see you, so please say something.
It looks good.
Yes.
All right, excellent. So as we use ResearchHub and other people, we experience all sorts of emotions, right? Some are more conducive to you staying there. Some are more repulsive, let's say. So we want people to feel in a certain way and to not feel in a certain way. So first of all, it doesn't need to feel like a burden, right? So if you, when you picture a scenario where you're like, okay, I'm going to sit down and do something in ResearchHub, and you feel the need to procrastinate a bit, that's a bad sign. We want to get rid of that feeling. Another part that may be part of the issue why you would rather post on Twitter than here, it's the unappreciativeness, right? Yes, the user base is small, but even there is some user base. Still, I think we could do better to make your content be perceived by yourself as more seen and appreciated by others. Partially for the power user program, you can get in the mindset that things you need to do on ResearchHub, and yeah, I said need, you have to do them, right? Rather than you choosing to do them, right? Especially if you are in some sort of power user program, in this one or another one, you have a set of goals that you are behind on, and it gets into a drag, and it's not even your decision anymore. Another thing is it's unclear what exactly you need to do to gain rewards, and the rewards can be both the monetary rewards or the social rewards, as in other people will upvote and like appreciate what I submitted. And another potentially big part, maybe for not everyone in here, but for some people, is in the problem with the platforms where you can potentially spend infinite amount of time to try to achieve something, is if they don't limit you at all, there is a high chance among like really engaged people that they will do a lot in a very short span of time, and they will basically burn out and they will never log in again, even though they might have been converted into regular users. So we don't want any of those. What we want is the opposite. We want you, when you are about to go post something, I don't want you to be afraid that like other people will judge me or something. I want you to anticipate the joy, like being noticed by other people, being upvoted, being rewarded, being appreciated, all that stuff. We want you to feel that it's not a like all day effort. It's not an all day quest. Like you need to cancel your plans, cancel the laundry, cancel the vacuuming, cancel picking up kids from the daycare. I'm doing stuff for ResearchHub. No, it needs to be a bite-sized effort that you can squeeze in between other stuff you do in your life. There is this thing that we can use in moderation that's typically in research called fear of missing out. This is exactly the feeling that compulsively forces you to look at the notifications of your phone screen, just because people are very uncomfortable. People are more uncomfortable losing something than gaining the same amount, like for example in money. We want to tap into that, but carefully. And also there needs to be, so the closer the reward is to the action that led to this reward in time or in extra actions, the easier it is for you. And for you, I mean, like for you to emotionally feel that they are tied, right? You can intellectually understand that you have to do something boring and unnecessary right now to benefit in a year, but that's you powering through it. We don't want that. We want you to feel that you want to click the button or post a comment. And that leads us to the opposite of burnout, right? You can probably imagine examples that you use. There are some activities that are limited, right? You would like to do more, but you just can't, right? So in the new revised power user program, I want to captivate this feeling of like, yes, I finished all the tasks for today, and I have energy and time for more. I can't, right? This is a limited resource. I want to do it. Okay, so if those are the feelings we're shooting for and shooting against, right, these negative feelings, these are, I think, the more problematic areas of the incentive structure right now. So I'm not trying to bash the existing structure, just trying to identify the areas for improvement. So right now, it can be a little bit lonely on ResearchHub, right? Because you can just produce content without even talking to other people, which is fine, but maybe it's not exactly what we want to go for. There is no motivation for you personally to spend research coin right now, especially given that typically it is smart to hold on to crypto. The hoarding tendencies are hardwired in many users, and there is right now little to no reason to actually spend your research coin. Just accumulate. The tasks that, well, right now the incentive program is mostly focused on uploading papers and commenting on these papers, and that can be quite an endeavor, especially given the time frame of 1 week. If you waited an entire week, you have to think of all these 7 tasks at once that you have to complete to achieve the research coin and whatnot. And that can be a problem in terms of motivation, of course. And of course, that's not exactly a problem that so much it is part of the design. Right now, it's kind of hard to figure out what are the best actions you can do on the website to be efficient. There is, like I mentioned, there is limited reason to log in frequently. You can just log in once a week, right? If you are part of the current power user program, which is not very conducive to habituated behavior, let's say. And just to reiterate, the likelihood of someone else reading your comments and responding to them right now is relatively low. You will probably have more success just uploading a paper and hoping someone else will glance at it, but maybe not the comments, right? And I think that is even disproportional as a feature compared to the number of users we have now. Even with a limited user base, I think there could be changes that will lead to users to redirect their attention towards interacting with other people versus with themselves and the website. And I thought this for myself, why would I bother another person out there I know that could potentially be a viable user for ResearchHub? There is no incentive. Okay, so how can we tackle all this? Well, I'm a strong proponent of the once per day activities. This way, they are, first of all, 1 day is a smaller unit than 1 week. So the likelihood of you accumulating tasks you haven't finished and you feel about them as a burden is way less. And second of all, it's more conducive to creating this fear of missing out in a healthy dose, right? So you don't want to be anxious, but you also, because if you skip 1 day, that's okay, I guess. But there is no coming back, but you're not doomed, right? You just continue doing what you were doing before. Okay, so this is a proposed set of activities that you might do on ResearchHub and you get rewarded. And the values are not set in stone. And Patrick, let me know if those sound reasonable or whether we need to increase or decrease them, or perhaps it's going to be a temporary thing just for the new, starting power users. Perhaps later we will tone it down after we get a stable user base. But yeah, right now, similar to what we have now, exactly the same actually. Submit an interesting paper, you get 100 research coins. Okay, so now the more burdensome activity that's optional, right? You can just stop here. Is you explaining what's up with this paper. And I think that's important, right? Because we want to go for quality of content, not quantity, because quantity without quality is just noise. It's actually detracting for people to see a bunch of articles they don't understand. It would be overwhelming for them. We want them to view some articles, but articles that are, let's say, pre-digested for them, for more knowledgeable users. Okay, now this other feature, and I think I'm a big fan of it, let me know what you think about it, is spend REC to earn REC. How does it work? You will have some REC, so what you can do with them is you can find a comment that you liked, that other user posted, not yourself. You leave a response to this comment, something approving or disapproving, right? So you could be like, okay, so that's what I think in response to your thinking, or this is the question I have after reading it, or I agree with it, that's why. So it's more or less elaborate. It doesn't need to be like a whole passage, an essay. So what you do is you find such a comment, for example, this one, right? And you donate, support it with RSC up to 200 per day. And what happens is another person, in this scenario, me, who is supervising the power user program, will find this comment and will reimburse you double what you have just donated, right? So effectively, you can make 200 research coins from that activity alone, right? So it can be spread among multiple comments if you want to highlight, multiple offers, or it can be dumped into one comment. It doesn't matter. Perhaps it does if you want to change it. By the way, feel free to stop me at any time because I don't see your faces or questions or comments or anything. Okay, and so another effort to make people interact with each other more is post a comment that can be small, and it doesn't need to be super knowledgeable, but it needs to be filled with curiosity, right? So you have a question about the article, or maybe you have a question about the rationale of the comment, or maybe the hypothesis that was just posted. Something that is designed to start the conversation, right? You might get unlucky and the conversation will not spark. However, at least it has a goal to start one. And right now, the program is mostly manual, right, due to our low number. So for my ease, please use #question for those, so I can easily identify those in the feed. Perhaps later down the road, we will be able to implement like hidden tags in posts, right? So they are only visible to moderators or something. That will be easier. But for now, just #question. And it adds up to 800 RSC per day, which I think is a respectable amount. So let's just summarize it again. You submit a paper, you leave a comment about this paper, right, to get 300 and 400 for 100 for submitting, 400 total, and you support another comment or multiple comments, you get up to 200 from that. And you post a question, conversation starter of any sort, that adds up to, like I said, 800, or weekly 5K and 600, monthly 24K, yearly almost 300K, which is, I don't know what to tell you, that's a lot of coins. We don't know their current valuation, right? But that's a big number for sure. And that doesn't stop here. You can earn more. Okay, should we discuss, or should I proceed to the referral program?
So one question I have, Anton, is there going to be an easy way to communicate this? Like, where can we post this so that way we can like show it to everybody and make sure it's like easily digestible what you have to do in order to earn these?
Yeah, well, absolutely. Well, I think being open about this stuff is one of the secrets to success. So I basically will compile a manifest or a white paper or something that's very short and succinct description of everything I just told. Of course, if you agree on the values and everything, and I will describe how to enroll in the Power User Program, who to contact, what to do, all that stuff in short and digestible format. And we would distribute it through email, through Slack, right? We would have a separate channel perhaps on Slack where we would handle the power user matters.
And actually, Anton, I think you shared a screenshot, I don't know, like 2 weeks ago or something, where you basically have a bunch of the things, a list of the things that will earn you RSC, the top left side of the hub. I actually didn't like it initially because it's like a very high real estate area, but then I did like a 180 because I think it's like we need to like support that type of features, more visibility into that. So yeah, we can do that.
Mhm.
I also have a question about like if you go back one slide, if you don't mind if I ask. Like yeah. So you mentioned that there was like basically supporting a comment with 200 RSC, right? Which could earn you double. Is
Mhm.
that like a lottery thing where you might get double, or is that like a guarantee thing where in your mind you'll get double?
That's an excellent question. I do feel like so that list might not be a complete list. Like basically, if I get good feedback from you and you would like me to come up with more tasks, daily tasks like this, I do want to introduce something that's kind of gambly. I think it will be wildly successful.
No, I I like the gambling thing. The staking thing is nice because like we want people to put RC into the thing into the system to create an economy. Right now we have no economy, so I like this sort of thing. So yeah, okay. So that answers my
Yes,
question.
that one is not conditional. We can like the sky is the limit here, the fantasy and the social psychology and the philosophy. We can make it even in a dilemma type of thing, right? You can donate research coin, but you get your return only if the author of the original comment likes you back or something like that, you know. But it can get crazy if you want it to be crazy.
Yeah, I think like one thing that comes to my mind, and I don't think it's like exactly related to it, but just like some idea related idea. So Stack Overflow has the bounty system, which you probably most of you are familiar with. And one of the things that the community would do in a bounty, well, two things. So one thing is that if the bounty is really high, more people would see it. But then another thing to get visibility, to get the community to see something and to like engage with it, is that usually like a lot of people before the bounty closes, they'll like upvote like the your question to get more visibility into so that other people see like, oh, the bounty is closing, go and reply in some fashion to the bounty before it closes. So I'm thinking like this has a similar feel to it where it's like you're putting some money in so that it becomes to start a conversation, but also it provides more visibility into it because now you supported something with 200 RC. Now maybe it shows up in the right sidebar and other people can see it and engage with it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
So yeah, just a thought, not really going anywhere in particular.
No, perhaps you're onto something. Perhaps we can, if you upvoted a beginning of a thread, basically you created a thread, right? Because you replied to a comment with your own comment and supported it. Maybe we could do something like by the end of the day, how many comments are in this thread, right? And whoever has the highest among a group of power users gets an extra or something.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Yeah, I'm going to think about that a little more. But okay, that sounds good. Yeah, thanks, Anton. I think these are all the questions I had right now.
I like the daily beat that you have because it does make sense. Like you kind of want to think about it daily versus like, let me have these 7 tasks weekly. One thing that I'm
better,
thinking,
doesn't it? It feels
easier. Better. It does feel, it feels easier. One thing I'm thinking is like, are you really going to have like, I don't know, and maybe you don't, and maybe it's not a problem because like, it's fine. But like, I was thinking, are you really going to have like, I don't know, 365 interesting papers every day to upload?
Oh yeah.
That's quite a lot. Yeah, it's quite a lot, right? So then it's like, if you can't do that, I mean, maybe it's not a problem because like you might have some FOMO, you might go look for some stuff, but then if you don't have anything, then it's fine. It's not like you're manufactured forcing it.
Yeah, it's even better, right? Because you missed out once. Now the next day you feel the rigor to do it even more.
Right. But then I'm thinking like, is there some kind of action we can add that's like
not dependent on external?
Maybe, well, that's less like burdensome kind of thing.
So more easy tasks.
something, but like not too easy, right? It doesn't. We don't want
Mhm.
things to be too easy. But is there some kind of thing, and like that's relevant to us too? Like, I don't know whether it's like increasing research in a specific area, or like I don't know, something like this, right? Like, is there something minimal that we can add here that like makes sense and like makes people feel like, hey, I'm doing something and I'm participating in a reward program, but and I'm contributing knowledge. So there's like a combination of these things, that isn't necessarily like, let's submit a paper, let's post a question, let's post a comment, because those are high, like we said earlier, they're high energy tasks.
No, if like this is just initial gauge to see how you feel. If you do like the general direction, I can come up with a whole bunch of tasks that are more achievable, let's say, but still meaningful content.
Yeah, I think similar to that, like it's very interesting. Like, why does the comment feel so scary to leave? Like, how we don't have anywhere on the site. There is no reason when you go on ResearchHub to feel that way. So why do people feel that way? I don't know. Like, there's something to keep in mind. We don't have to answer it right now.
Yeah, the first comment, like there is a reason people call it like icebreakers, right? The first thing to do when everyone is silent is harder, right? Requires, like, you have all sorts of anxiety and expectations. There is no role model and stuff like that.
Okay.
Just a comment. So if you make anything as a game of chance, then that directly contradicts the goal of trying to like make it very obvious what sort of actions are tied to the rewards that you're getting. And the question that I had is like, how do you implement this thing? Like, how do you actually detect this sort of interaction where somebody is leaving a comment and somebody is rewarding it and then getting the double of that? Like, I'm literally not clear on the, like, how do you make it happen?
Yeah, well, right now, okay, so right now the amount of users is kind of low, so I'll track the live feed, and I'll have a spreadsheet, and I'll see who donated research coin, and I'll see if they are part of the power user program, and I'll reimburse if they are below the 200 limit. That's how. And if they leave a comment, right? You need to leave a comment because I need a target to support with the research coin.
Okay, that's a lot of work. Good luck.
It is a lot of work. I do. If you progress a few slides over, I do have a plan how to make it still a lot of work, but crowdsource it at least.
Okay, thanks.
And if it does work out, and if it's a great improvement in the current system, that maybe we can have like some supportive scripting that will like identify comments of certain type for us, for moderators and stuff like that. But that's in the future. All right. So, yep, in a year, everyone can become rich. Other than that, so just to reiterate, I do think that logging in daily is more powerful than logging in weekly, just in terms of habit formation. We know it from research. Creating the feeling that the tasks are a limited resource that you need to seize, right, to be the most efficient user there is. This creates this, hunger for activities instead of them being burdensome on you. Yeah, my goal is some days you're going to be finished in like 20 minutes. Somehow you had a very good article in mind and you're already thinking about it a lot, and you do all the activities and you just sit there and like, man, the next task is in 16 hours. That's forever. I can't wait. And if you find yourself thinking, I can't wait, then we already won. We want that feeling. All right. So another thing that I think is currently lacking, and that we probably need it for the optics of the ResearchHub, right, is exchange of research coins between users, right? Not only we need it to show that people exchange them, right, for maybe external observers, but also they are all visible in the in the live feed, right? And when new users come in, they look at the live feed and they think, hey, people are actually actively like trading and doing stuff in here. This is a community that's alive, right? It's not some solitary thing where people write discrepant comments. And like I said, I think ResearchHub is really a social platform in nature, right? In a way, we don't really create like original content. It's original in a way, but it's their reactions, right? Their commentaries, their discussions, right? People don't yet write research on ResearchHub. They discuss it, right? And if it's the strong suit of ResearchHub, we should push it, right? We should push the social interactions, make people talk to each other.
That's a really good question.
I'm sorry,
Because
did I miss
already,
someone?
you're right. There's already an item ID.
Hey, Pat, I think we're getting a little feedback from your mic.
Okay, did someone have a question, or is it? I still can see it.
No, I just want to say one comment. I like this idea a lot because I like the daily part because it's proven to work with like one of the most popular video games, like Animal Crossing. I don't know if you guys play it. You log into your stupid terminal every day, and you have to do like a list of tasks, and you get rewarded for it. And like if you log in every day, you basically get a multiplier too. So it makes you want to come back every day. And it worked because it's one of the best-selling games of all time. I personally hate doing the tasks because I feel like I do enough work in real life, so don't like to do work in the game. But it works for the majority, so I like that. And
it works.
Like that analogy.
Yeah, Nami likes the idea of streaks, I know, right? We can definitely introduce some rewards for being consistent with the tasks.
How do you become a part of this? Like, is this a limited time for limited users?
Great question. Let's talk about it in exactly next slide. All right. So, and another part here is that the gratification is less delayed, right? So you do something, you're rewarded tonight, not in a week, right? So to answer that's a referral program. Okay, Dragon, you know what? I'm going to talk about your question before we proceed to it. So to become the power user right now, you will need two people. You will need a referrer, and you will need one of the admins of the incentive program, which is me, and I'm guessing you. And two of us, we will we will have a short meeting with a person. It's just basic sanity check. Are they a real person? They're not spammer? They're not a bot, right? They have a name. I'll write down the name or the pseudonym they use, whatever. Just a basic. This is going to be built on basic human connection, right? So we will have layers of hierarchy. But if you are a power user, there will always be a person who is, let's say, responsible for you, right? So you know, and is going to have an eye on you, so you don't go completely bonkers one day. Okay, but more specifics in a moment. Right, so the referral program. I think we need to expand our core team. I love you guys, but it's like, what, 6 of us, 7 of us? We need more people, and we need this more dedicated users. How? Through referral program, not the automatic one, because that one is getting abused every time, right? We only need the manual referral program, a very powerful and motivating one. Well, you just saw how if you do all the tasks every day in a year, you can make 300 grand of those coins, which again, I'm not going to speculate on valuations, but probably a decent chunk of money, right? So to complement this with a referral program, if you recruit another power user, right, and it's a successful onboarding, they join the team and they do the thing, for 3 months after that, you get 10% of what they're earning, right? So if you get 10 of those, you can double your income in research coin. That's a lot, but also I don't personally believe that any one of us can like super exploit this system. I don't have 10 like academic friends who I know will be willing to like super contribute into this. If you have, well, great for you and great for ResearchHub actually.
So Anton, can I just
Mhm.
interrupt briefly?
Yep.
So you say you will earn 10% of their income, right?
Just from the power user part, not the part. So I'm not talking about like all this income is this kind of like special on top of like the regular upvotes and everything else people do on ResearchHub to earn research coin.
But I guess it's only for in the beginning, because I can imagine if it becomes a regular user and they themselves attract another power user, then you
Yep.
get 10% of 10%.
Oh,
Or the
okay. No,
original.
so that would be no. It shouldn't go recursive, right? It shouldn't.
Okay.
The 10% you're getting from your own referee. You don't get that. And also here, yeah, it's a timed thing, because we don't want it to scale out of proportion, right? So like in 10 years, when you have 10K friends you referred, you're going to make bonkers money. That's probably a little unfair. So it ends in 6 months.
I have a question. So like I know, Anton, this is like mainly for power users. But like you said, the Research Hub does feel a bit lonely, and it would be nice to expose these tasks to the average user. Are you thinking that we'll start with a power user program and then like get a subset of these tasks and advertise them to the average user, like if it works out?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when you said that you reconsidered about the tasks in the corner of the interface. I think we should use this power user program as a, just an experimental ground, right? Where we will select the most efficient and the most attractive and the easiest and tasks that brings the most joy to users, and those will make it into the general user population. We can scale them down, all sorts of stuff. But we can also, if you care about the regular users, we can maybe adjust the rule for the power user thing, where you support other users with 200 RC. Maybe we can limit it. You should always support non-power users, perhaps. Pretty limited, but it makes sure some of the research coin get out of the inner circle. Like, we don't want to be viewed as an inner circle thing. That's usually bad.
Exactly. Yeah, totally.
Perhaps we can discuss it later. What you think we should be for non-power users only, or for everyone? Okay. So yeah, if you have friends, okay, I have it written down here. Who is referring? Who is referrer? Okay, so referent is the person who you got, right? So referrer is you. So this is how the onboarding works, right? The person read you introduced someone to ResearchHub and the Power User program. They agree. We all meet. I write down their name in my little or big spreadsheet, and that's it, right? From now on, right? So me and the referrer will, keep an eye on, at least for for early time, on the new power user. If they are, autonomous and they produce quality content, whatever, they can, we can keep track on them less. But there are mechanisms I think I can propose that in the future can be used by the community to basically strip some power users or even moderators from their role. Okay. So, but basically, yes, the process is short interview after they figure out the way to find us. And yeah, if you have been a referent once, you can't become a referent again, right? You have your name. I remember your face. Probably not going to happen. If it happened, I don't know. You tricked me. You probably would have tricked the machine learning anti-scam system as well. Can't do anything about it. All right. So how would we implement this, right? Because like Dragon said, that's a lot of work. Good luck. Well, that is a lot of work. So I wouldn't do all this work alone, All right, so we should form a hierarchy, and everyone gasps, oh, decentralized and hierarchy in the same sentence. Yes, it's true, right? If the hierarchy doesn't end at the owner, it's not, that doesn't need to be centralized. Okay, so power users report to hub moderator, and I'm using hub moderator. It's probably an inaccurate title, right? Because I kind of envision moderators doing their own thing, not being busy with tracking all the comments and stuff. But let's say they are right now. So right now, I would be performing all those roles. Not that they exist. Like I would just be like the only hub moderator. There wouldn't be anyone above me. Well, Patrick passed. All right. So how does it work? The power users basically do their thing, do their goals, and the hub moderators are, in a way, they're just secretaries, right? They keep track of people who donated coins today, who did what, and they will, go in and support the actions with research coin, right? And importantly, all the actions right now that I propose, they leave a trace behind them, right? So we don't need an extra interface to like send RSC in a secret way between me and the power user, right? I can just find their comment that posed the question, and I can give that comment to 100 RSC, no problem. Now the problem begins when we have too many power users, right? So if I can't keep track of all of them, it becomes burdensome. And obviously at this state, maybe if it's super successful, you guys will probably help me out here and make it easier for me, but making like, I don't know, the comments colored differently if they are part of the power user program, something like that, whatever. But we can get more of those. Now, how does this person become who I am, right? Because like I just invented this, but obviously, we will need more people like that. Well, one solution to that could be the introduction of the expertise rating. And what is expertise? It's a reputation that we currently have, but it's hub specific, right? How do you get it? If you found a paper or post that has certain tags in it, right? Let's say it's psychology and neuroscience for me, that's what I post mostly. And I leave a comment or something, and people upvote it, that will increase my reputation, but it will also increase my expertise or progression in a given hub. Now you could say, well, there is currently no good system how, what hubs are considered to be like on a certain paper, right? People just add them arbitrarily. It is the case now, but also if you want it, we can make a big deal out of it, right? So people can report like in inaccurate hubs, or people can vote to add more accurate hubs to a certain paper, if we want. So after a user reaches a certain number of expertise in a given hub, right? So notice how right now I'll just be like overseeing all people, right? I wouldn't get too deep into your comments. I will just like check for, does this sound interesting for a non-expert? But it can become hub specific, right? So a person has a lot of expertise, who perhaps is already a power user, or maybe not even a power user, right? Will request, like, will apply to become a moderator or for this given hub, right? And then all existing power users or all existing moderators would basically have a group interview and vote on whether this person should become the new moderator. And once they do the same thing as I do. We will figure out a way to split the number of people so that I can keep track of my group of people, they can keep track of their group of people. And eventually, I think once we get more and more people and they will specialize in their own hubs, I wouldn't have a need to go outside my hub, right? I would have enough power users within psychology, so I would just work with them, and I wouldn't have to try to understand physics, right? Because physics makes my brain hurt. Okay. And so the same goes the other way around, right? If the person is inactive, right, they can be reported, and then we could bring it to the vote, and then maybe they can be demoted or kicked out of the power user program. It's a sad process, but it needs to exist. Another thing that I think we might as well throw in there is that people with high expertise, let's say, like we do have some sort of stages or gradations, right? So after you reach 1,000 expertise, perhaps you're eligible to get into the power user program. After you reach 10,000, perhaps you're eligible for the moderator. Once you reach those milestones, possibly your upvotes become more impactful, right? Because you are such a knowledgeable person in the hub, then maybe if you upvote, it's actually equals to 5 normal upvotes. But that's a bonus. That's actually not part of the progression system. All right, that's all I have.
This last part was complicated, and like again, it will probably require a lot of kind of help from the technical side, right? Especially when you mention DAO voting, like.
1 second, I'll stop sharing so I can see everyone.
Yeah,
Right.
that's not even available. But again, like I guess you'll cross that bridge once you get there.
It's true, right? I tried. So Patrick basically said that, you know, like the development team is busy doing something else. So this particular plan is, oh my, I was presented for way too long. I'm very sorry. So yes, this particular plan requires very little like technical involvement. It can be made easier, like by color coding stuff and like creating a separate interface where I can see all the power user activity. But it doesn't need to be. Right now, it's just like if someone sent a huge amount of REC, I mean, huge is like 200 or 100. People don't do that these days. I will probably know that this is a power user, right? So I would say if it's below 20 people, I can handle it. And right now we are below 20 people.
And to help frame this a little bit more, like this is, like Anton mentioned, like experimental grounds, where we think this is a way to basically gather data on how to make better incentives for the ResearchHub app itself. And so essentially, like every 2 weeks, we'll check in during the community call, see how the incentives are working, like see if it's actually encouraging the type of interactions that we're hoping it will, and then tweak it. So like if for whatever reason the structure, like the hierarchy that Anton described isn't working, like it can be very plastic, and we'll just kind of like stay flexible and do whatever works in the moment. And thank you, Anton. That was awesome. I think that was super complete. And me personally, I'm pretty excited. It makes me actually want to write comments. So
oh, it does? Okay, actually, I'm very curious to see if it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also think great work, Anton. I really appreciate it. It's very detailed, and it sparks a lot of ideas, which is what you kind of want with the presentation. So
thank
you for doing that.
Cool. Yeah, so just to move to the next topic, we're officially starting work trial with Dragon, which is super exciting. And what we want to do for the work trial project is to essentially like streamline the upload paper flow. As you know, we got some comments on last week, like it's not super easy. Dr. Bick, even when she like gave us like a user study of ResearchHub, all she wanted to do was just add a DOI, not necessarily like have to like dig through a website and stuff in order to comment or post a paper. So Dragon's going to be thinking through how to like make it very, very easy and quick to post content on ResearchHub. So Dragon, what we wanted to do for the next like 10 minutes or so is basically just like brainstorm ideas on how we can potentially improve the upload flow. I can share my screen now and just like walk through the exact thing just to show what happens. Can you guys see?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. So I just grabbed like a random paper from JAMA Internal Medicine. This is a journal article or journal that I posted another paper from earlier today. So first things first, new post button, top of the right screen. When it comes up, I have a couple options. So I have to think about what exactly I want to post. Continue. Link to the paper. I'm already used to this, so I grabbed the URL. Sometimes people are more used to like adding PDFs or DOIs, like Dr. Bick said. So I add that. We have a spinner. Editorialized title, jargon-free version of the title that the average person would understand. So now I have to think about exactly how I want to editorialize this paper before it's submitted. Hubs, what hubs does it apply to? Type down, it's from JAMA Internal Medicine, so internal no internal medicine. I guess here we go, internal medicine. And then the DOI is automatically populated. Submit, another spinner. The hubs just got removed. And then here we go. I'm on the paper page now. The authors have been automatically extracted. This looks a little bit empty up at the top. We have an abstract, but it's not the full abstract. If you go to the actual paper, maybe this one doesn't have a full abstract. I picked an editorial instead of an actual paper, so that is right. But yeah, so that's the whole upload flow. Does anybody have any thoughts on how we can potentially make that easier for people?
So also just to mention, for a comparison, I got compared it with ResearchGate and Academia Edu, and basically they, if it's okay to just briefly share the screen. You can see the screen, right?
Yep, looks good.
And basically, so this is ResearchHub, and on Academia Edu, they simplified the first step basically to just uploading the papers, and they will try to populate all the data in kind of the next step, or let you add all of those if you click no file to upload. And ResearchGate has kind of a bunch of different types that you can upload. And then again, it's some sort of form, and actually didn't totally figure out where the uploading was. I probably missed it. One interesting thing to note is that both of their CTA buttons, like call to action buttons, are add new, which I guess is less confusing than what ResearchHub has, because ResearchHub's CTA is new post. And I think just Elizabeth Bick did mention, like, where do I post a paper and not a post? So yeah, that's an interesting one.
Yeah, that's good. I think that's good, rewarding, easy fix.
Yeah. So some of the ideas that the team mentioned as well yesterday were perhaps asynchronous uploading of files if the file is too large. So you can go to other screen, visit other websites, whatever, just continue browsing across ResearchHub so you don't have to wait the entire upload. The interesting thing is that both ResearchGate and Academia Edu don't have that. So they are fully kind of synchronous. You're just sitting there while the file is being uploaded. And the idea for ResearchHub would be you get a notification once the file is uploaded, like here's a paper page, and then you can fill out the additional details, for example, or something like that. So that could improve the experience. But again, like maybe if you are currently investing yourself into uploading details of the paper and like the paper itself, maybe you really want to just sit it out and just wait it out. And again, you probably, like in most cases, you aren't uploading hundreds of megabytes of data. And there's actually a limit on ResearchHub currently of 15 megabytes for file uploads, which is not enforced, which is quite an interesting one. So you can still upload larger files, but like in huge number of cases, you won't be waiting for too long either way. And yeah, so just kind of the view, kind of the angle that I took is, let's see what people are familiar with from other websites as well. And they all have this kind of multi-step process, and they all have kind of this very similarly shaped steps. So like you upload the thing, and then you edit the details, and then you are on the page of the paper. So I know if any of you had any wishes or some opinions of what could be changed and improved, something that you didn't enjoy, more than welcome to hear that feedback.
Yeah, personally, I think sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, personally, I think the async solution is like a bit overkill. If I wanted to continue using the site, for example, since ResearchHub is a web app, I would just like command click like the logo and open it in like a different tab or something, and then continue using the site there, and then click back to like the first tab and see if it's like finished uploading or something. Seems like pretty natural to me. Like I would do that on like YouTube or something. Yeah.
Okay, there's a solution for that. So we can try to do synchronous action, but we can detect when the user has left. So if they left, then we can actually spawn an additional notification. So like it's synchronous by default, but if they even accidentally leave, we can still ping them that everything is still fine. So there's that maybe.
Well, the thing about it being synchronous is usually if someone's waiting for more than like even like 3 seconds, 4 seconds, they think the website's broken.
Oh,
Especially like if someone's waiting for 10, 20 seconds, you will have thought the website is broken. You have left by that point. So that's the biggest problem with the synchronous approach.
Yeah, well, the thing
think
that I
we can-
noticed is, for example, sorry for interrupting, but the other websites have progress bar. So like you can see how far along it is. So maybe that would help just so you can see, well, it's not stuck. It's just doing its thing.
Yeah, and even if progress bars are like a bit too too much work, you can just say like this process might take a minute or something. That's a pretty common pattern as well.
So you're
Just to, like,
describing the
temper
logistics of uploading your own file, right? As opposed to populating with a link from another website, correct?
All both.
Like I don't know how frequent people upload their own PDFs. Like why do they have PDFs? If you're an author, why do you have a PDF?
Oh, actually, in my experience, like from talking people that are researchers, a lot of them have a lot of PDFs on their computers and probably a lot of duplicates. They at least want to manage them with some reference manager, Zotero, Mendeley. So they're still storing.
Dotero can lead you back to the website. So we used to have, like, people used to post, create entries on ResearchHub based on their PDFs. The problem with that was they would post a lot of junk, right? They would be like, post an instruction manual to a vacuum cleaner, and be like, okay, that's
Yeah. Most people won't post a PDF either. Most people post a link, and I think that we should keep it that way because it's easier.
Dragon,
or a DOI.
Yeah, Dragon, last time you presented an extension, that would actually be something I would really like to use if there was like almost like Zotero extension, right? So where you go on the page on the website with the article and you click it, and then it creates a page in ResearchHub for you. I would 100%. I would switch to it and never look back.
Well, that's a very useful feedback because there was a suggestion of that type exactly.
Yeah, I think the extension thing is awesome, but it's good for, I guess, certain users that know ResearchHub really well. Like you, Anton, it'll be awesome for you, but maybe like for new users, I'm thinking probably not going to install the extension. But it's definitely something that I also brainstormed. I like that idea. I'm all for it. Just wanted to throw it in there.
Just quick suggestion. While you're talking about how to add papers, like do you have users that are putting DOI in the search bar and just like saying, no, this article is not found, and that can be converted in posting paper. So I don't know how, but yeah, that should be done. I think right now.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think to follow up on that, I frequently encounter situations. So the ResearchHub that is not very cooperative with certain websites like JAMA, particularly, and some others. Sometimes I post a link and it thinks for a while and it's like, no, not found. And then instead of the link, I put in the DOI, not in the DOI form, but in the link, because the DOI is also a link. And then it finds the paper for you. So if there would be like more instructions for what to do in case of the error, that would be great, because like I'm usually confused. Like, what do I do? Do I try again to give up on this particular article?
Yeah, one thing that we noticed as well is that, for example, submission guidelines are at the top of the dialog for uploading papers, which is totally inconsistent with all the other pages for creating basic primitives on the website, where you have guidelines on the side. And we can actually use that additional space area to exactly give you some examples and tell you and like help you what to do in different scenarios. So yeah, good point. Okay, if no additional feedback, then let's just stop it there. Thanks for sharing this, super useful.
Yeah, thank you, Dragon. And thanks everybody for the feedback. So the last thing that I wanted to mention is that we just about have the first version of the ELN ready to ship to put on production. And the way that we're thinking about this in order to like get actual user feedback from basically a beta test without necessarily making ResearchHub more confusing is we're going to create a whitelist of users who have access to the ELN from the ResearchHub homepage and only show that to the specific users that we know are in the beta test and are here to help provide feedback. For instance, the Quibbit lab at UCLA. So what I want to do is open it up to anybody here. Like if you guys want to play around with the ELN, just let me know. I know everybody's username here, so I'd be able to add you regardless. But if you have like any friends or anybody who you think would be able to provide quality feedback, just let me know, like DM me their email address and we'll add them to the whitelist. That way they can like play around with it and potentially give us feedback as well. I'll also post this like in the community chat just to open it up. But yeah, basically, if you want to use it, just let us know so that way we can add your email to the whitelist. Yeah, and so that's pretty much it. I think that's it for this week. Pretty long community call, but I think it's super exciting. So thank you, Anton, for doing that whole presentation. I think it's going to be like actually a huge growth mechanic for us. So
thanks for the feedback, guys. It was very helpful.
Cool. All right, until next week. See everybody later.
See you guys.
See you guys.